Let's talk.
Giles Brown.
The world's biggest miscarriages of justice, when justice fails. Justice is a foundation of any civilized society, but what happens when the system designed to protect the innocent, in fact, condemns them? It is the subject of a fascinating book by Phil Drake. I'd like to say that Phil joins me live on the line now. Phil, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. Whereabouts are you this morning? Where do we find you?
Southampton.
Super.
On sunny South.
The English, almost the English Riviera. You see, there you go.
Oh, right.
So please explain to myself and the listeners why you are so eminently qualified to write this particular book.
Well, I wouldn't say qualified, but I had an interest in law and true crime, and I think it's pertinent now. What with all the people being put in prison for basically nothing,
right?
Just stuff they've tweeted,
So
whilst others, do worse and go free. And I started researching it, and I thought, this would be a good book.
So what was the, if you like, the spark? What was the eureka moment that you thought, right, I need to write a book about this? And was it a particular case, or was it just a snowball of injustices that's got you thinking? It
was the Taylor sisters case. They were accused of murder, got found guilty, but then I think they spent like 2 years in prison and got let off. But the guy who actually worked on getting them free ended up changing his mind and now feels that they're guilty. So that was like the first case I came across, and I started snowballing from there.
These are cases from around the world. So what are we looking at? I mean, how many cases have you considered in the book? And I mean, are they in the States? Are they in the UK? What are the cases? Highlight some of the cases, if you could, please, Phil.
Yeah, sure. There's probably the most are from the UK, but there's a fair few from USA, Australia, New Zealand. I've put the book into four parts, each dealing with a different reason why it was a miscarriage of justice.
Right.
Such as forced and false confessions, police corruption, tainted and circumstantial evidence. Then the final one, which is my favourite, is the overturned convictions and lingering doubts. So
I'm of a generation of that will remember, and I was living on Camden Square when the Birmingham Six got out, and that was a night to remember. I mean, that was that and the Guildford Fall, of course, immortalised in the film In the Name of the Father. I mean, those are. The British pride themselves on their legal system, but obviously those were just horrendous miscarriages of justice, Phil.
Yeah, I've got them in the book as well. It was shocking, really. I mean, it was just anybody Irish would do. The police, especially the West Midlands Serious Crime Squad, were corrupt.
Yeah.
And it was a shame it took so long to free them. It was ridiculous how long it took.
So where did you go? Where did you go for your research then for this? Where did you, in particular? Did you go to archives? Did you speak to experts in the field? So how did you research this particular one?
I used the internet, used the British Library. I've also read a lot of legal paperwork and books written about different cases and sort of mashed them all together. When
we got the situation where you're saying, for example, coercion, because for the majority of us, thankfully, we never come into contact with the forces of law or order, and most of us, again, will never have to stand in the dock. In a court of law. I mean, I've covered enough court cases as a cub reporter back in the day, and it can be a completely surreal and quite daunting experience. So you can understand, can't you, why some people who maybe not be the sharpest crayon in the box, to put it mildly, suddenly get that feeling of the rabbit in the headlights, say the wrong thing, and a Crown prosecution service lawyer can run rings around them, and or they can sort of they can say the wrong thing in front of a jury, and the jury's seen too many bleeding Hollywood movies where they go, aha, it's that man over there, and that sort of taints the case. So you talk about coercion and stuff like that. I mean, presumably these are people who are frightened, are told, look, take the fall, it'll be better for you all the way around. Just pick out a few cases, if you can, Phil, of that particular one.
Yeah, I mean, probably the most famous one is Stefan Kishko.
Right.
He was convicted of murdering a girl called Leslie Molseed back in the early 70s. Before the Police and Criminal Evidence Act came into effect in the 1980s, it was quite common for police to interrogate a suspect without legal representation, and obviously it wasn't recorded. They could basically write down whatever they want, and they sort of set their sights on him because he was a bit weird. He hadn't developed properly. He had medical issues, and he lived with his parents. He was a bit slow, a bit backward, if you like. And they basically fitted the evidence around him and then basically forced him to confess. It wasn't until years later that DNA tests were carried out on the clothing from the girl, and it came up with a match. It wasn't him.
It's one of the things, isn't it, Phil? Because I mean, we talked about the Guildford 4 and the Birmingham 6. The early 70s and the 70s, and this is going to be an obvious thing, and the 80s were they were different times. And so, therefore, as you said, anybody Irish would do. Didn't matter, because everybody was shocked and appalled about what had happened. And the same with policing in the 70s. It was like, well, get somebody in. And thankfully, we now, obviously, because of DNA evidence, crime forensics, that sort of thing has to be taken control. But then it was just like, okay, get somebody in. It doesn't matter who it is. Just make sure that we get somebody behind bars ASAP, Phil.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What else? I mean, looking at the other situations. I mean, let's look at it says the well-intentioned, misguided, to the downright malevolent. Now, are these people that just explain what you mean by that, please?
Well, basically, just the corruption in the police force. Like I said, like the West Midlands Serious Crime Unit were, on the take and just making stuff up, and there was no way for anyone to complain. It's in court, the policeman's words over the suspect every time, and it costs people their liberty. And doesn't seem to be. I mean, a lot of the cases in the police corruption, yes, the convictions got overturned, but the police officers involved never saw a courtroom. They were just like fired, or they'd already retired, or then they said there's not enough evidence. Like the police protect their own at the end of the day, especially back then. Yeah,
again, as I said before, it is a different time, and that's you talk about accountability as well, don't you? Because this is, I mean, if you've done 30 years for something you didn't commit, and then you get out, and then the people who put you in have retired, or they have they've died or something. I mean, it's obviously we will all remember the photographs of the Irish, the release of the Irish guys and stuff like that. But you do think that there should have been lessons should have been learned. And do you think the lessons have been learned, Phil?
I don't think they have. I think just that technology has helped clear people that weren't. That we were suspects who weren't guilty, and has helped to convict those that are guilty. But a lot of the time, you see it now in a lot of police documentaries. They'll just focus on one person. They put blinkers on to any other person responsible. They see a person, they think they've got the right man, and it turns out they haven't. And then all they do is, oh, sorry, we didn't get the right guy at the right time. But thankfully, technology has helped. DNA especially it's been a big change for the criminal justice system. I mean, people have lost their lives because of they've got the death penalty because of being innocent but being found guilty. Yeah, it's shocking.
What we talk about the human cost. I mean, if again these people are released after, it could be decades inside, and then they're outside, and everything has changed. You know, I mean, the family's broken up, very probably. I mean, it's all, I'm not going to go all Shawshank on you, but you know what I'm saying here. It's that full and you know, in the Hollywood movie, it's like, and then he got on with his life, and he, you know, childhood sweetheart.
Yeah,
but life's not like that, and the emotional and mental damage it must do these people to come out after, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back to Stefan Kishko, he got released. And I think he was alive for about 18 months before he died. On the stress of it all, he didn't even get to see his compensation money been awarded. It hadn't even been paid at that point. And, you know, where's the justice there?
What are you hoping that people are going to learn? I mean, is it because, you know, in a world at the moment where the people are questioning whether we should have juries, whether it should be a judge. I mean, I know these are for lesser crimes, not for capital offences. But are you hoping that people will take? Because I mean, I remember, you know, I was you know, a small child when the Guildford 4 and the Birmingham 6, and everybody was like delighted they got these guys, and you know, people saying, right, death penalty. Thank goodness we don't have a death penalty, capital punishment.
Yeah.
You know, or they should rot in jail, no parole, this and the other. But I mean, do you hope that people will sort of question the way that the legal system operates and the interest, because it can seem like an all boys club, can't it? With police, with lawyers, with counsel, with the judiciaries themselves, and you know, and there's this whole thing about an awful lot of the judiciary, you know, now, and indeed, if you go into the Inns of Court as well. You know, and I hate to drop. I'll drop the W on you now. You know, it's you know, it's not woke. But it's not very diverse. There are not an awful lot of. There are more women than there used to be. There are very few people from other ethnic backgrounds, and so again, it's an alien environment, and prejudices can make it seem like an anachronism and an all boys club. Yeah,
definitely. I think it needs to change. I don't agree with scrapping jury trials. Mm-hmm. Juries can get decisions wrong, but I think it's been hundreds, you know, in our legal system for hundreds of years. And if you leave it down to a magistrate or a judge, they can be corrupted. They can be ordered to reach a decision by the government, which, you know, is a slippery road to go down. Really.
What are you hoping that people are going to learn and take from the world's biggest miscarriages of justice, Phil? What are you hoping that they learn?
Well, hopefully that history won't be allowed to repeat itself. We need to hold the judiciary to, you know, to higher standards, really. From the bottom up, from the police who make the arrests to the CPS who grant the police, you know, the prosecution, and the juries need to be selected properly. A lot of the times, a juror will say, "Oh, you know, I know that I'm involved in something that might jeopardise the trial," and they have to get replaced. But yeah, the book really just tells the history of how serious being put in prison as an innocent person is, and it's still happening.
The book is called The World's Biggest Miscarriages of Justice, When Justice Fails. It's by Phil Drake, who we're speaking to today. Listeners, you can go onto the TRE virtual bookstore, click on the rather striking front cover, and a well-known distribution service will be sending it to you, or go to your own independent bookstore and get one. Phil, if people want to find you online and say nice things to you, festive things indeed, Phil, you know, wish you a Merry Christmas. Where's the best place to find you? Is the website? Do you do the socials? Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm on X, P Drake Official. I've also got a Facebook author page, Phil Drake Author. So, yeah, contact me on there.
The perfect stocking filler, I'd say, for those of you who are so inclined. The book is called The World's Biggest Miscarriages of Justice. It's by Phil Drake, who we're speaking to today. Phil, thank you so much for your time today. Have a very Merry Christmas.
And you.